Today is November 6th in the Gregorian calendar, and as luck would have it, no, it's more than that because I asked to teach today when Pardes decided to provide the Torah as Light series. And the reason is because November 6th is my oldest son, Noam's 37th birthday. And right before I came into my office to begin this Torah learning, my wife Judy and I were on the phone with him, wishing him a happy birthday. He is up in the north in a chamal, in a war room, as it were, using his tikshoret, his tikshuv, his communication skills that he was given while he was an officer in the Israeli army. And he was called up the day that the war started on October 7th. And he has been there since. He's come home about a little bit less than once a week, and we've been able to see him. But we can't celebrate his birthday with him today because he is busy contributing to the defense of our country. So I dedicate this not only to all of those who are listed on the Pardes page that you have. He is on that list, of course. But this is especially dedicated to him because it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Noam, and let's start learning. This is a short class that we're going to have, so I'd like to get to it. And the Torah portion that is going to be read this coming Shabbat is Parashat Chayei Sarah, which begins with the report of the passing of our matriarch Sarah. So in a text which contains so many divine promises to Abraham, that his progeny is destined to inherit the land on which Abraham is settled, it makes complete sense that there should be a section of the text which reports on the establishment of a final resting place for the matriarchs and patriarchs of our story. What's noteworthy is the way that this chapter is presented, overflowing with legal jargon and a clearly documented negotiation that took place between Abraham and Ephron the Hittite. As we read through, and we're going to read through the chapter now, I'd like to ask you to consider the following question. Is this Ephron the Hittite, who is depicted in the text, is he a protagonist or antagonist? Or as we say from the Wizard of Oz, is he a good witch or a bad witch? Do you think that he's a good person or a bad person? So when we read the text, I'm going to ask you to go in with an open mind. And some of you may have gone to Hebrew school. Some of you may have gone to Hebrew day school or Jewish day school. There is an ongoing crusade that I'm on of desiring to disabuse people of the influence that the Midrash, the medieval Midrash, which many times started in the 6th and even 7th centuries of the Common Era, have on us in the way that we see the characters of the biblical text. So I'm going to ask you to get rid of that. Let's read the text itself, and we're going to see whether or not you can determine for yourself with the lenses, with the prism with which you've been blessed, whether we can determine if we feel that Ephron is a good guy or a bad guy based on the text itself. So, and then when we're done with that, and we're going to have a discussion about that after we read chapter 23 of Bereshit, then we're going to go on and we're going to get some comments from a couple of medieval Mefarshim commentators and hear what they have to say. And the reason I'm doing that is because, after all, this is a Pardes opportunity that we have. And in the context of Pardes, we have an opportunity to observe machloket. Not only machloket between us, those of us who are learning together, but also of two of the most well-known commentators, Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, and Rashbam, Rabbi Shmuel ben Meir, Rashi's grandson. So I'm doing that on purpose also because I want to say that even family, when they come together on Pesach or on Thanksgiving, even family can be in a machloket and it can be okay. So we'll look at that next. And then finally, excuse me, assuming we have time, we're going to ask the question, what was the purpose of chapter 23, verses 1 to 20? Was it more than just to give us a kind of an obituary, a report of Sarah's death and the means which Abraham chose to find a proper burial place for her? Or was there something more? So let's get to it. And let's start with the reading of Breshit chapter 23. Vayu chaye Sarah me'ah shana ve'esrim shana ve'sheva shanim shnei chaye Sarah. The life of Sarah was 127 years, which is a terrible translation because in the Hebrew it's 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. That's okay. We've learned, many of us have learned the commentary that when she was a certain age, she was like a person of a different age, and that's all well and good, and we may get to that. But now we're just looking to get the pshat through your lenses, through the eyes through which you see this text. Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to lament Sarah and to weep over her. Abraham rose from before his dead and spoke to the Hittites, saying, Ger v'toshav anochi imachem. I am a resident alien among you. Give me a burial plot among you so that I may bury my dead before me. And the word for give me is a little bit misleading. That's a good translation. But the word in Hebrew is tenuli. Tenuli could be give, but it could also mean sell. And that ambiguity is one that we're going to take with us now as we continue. The Hittites replied to Abraham, saying to him, Shma'eni Adoni, hear us, my Lord. You are a prince of God amongst us. In the choicest of our graves, bury your dead. Not one of us will keep you from burying your dead. So at this point, I'm going to ask the first question that I would like your input with, and that is, assuming that tenu could mean either give me or sell me, at this point in the narrative, are the Hittites willing to give Abraham land, or are they looking to sell him land? What do you think? Just based on just what you've heard and read so far. What do you think?
If you'd like, you can use the hand raise feature. That way we'll be able to see right to the top and we'll be able to unmute you.
Okay, we're just getting started. Yes, Cindy, bavakasha.
Yeah, I think at this point it's giving.
Okay, no need of an exchange of any kind of monies.
It doesn't seem like that to me.
Okay, and I would like to confirm that it really does not seem like there's going to be a financial negotiation. Robert, what do you think? We got to get you to unmute first, Robert. There you go. Go ahead.
I think it could be either to say initially we'll give it to you may have simply been a courtesy, sort of a conversational courtesy to Abraham, but it could also have simply been, just an introduction, and with the expectation that Abraham would say, thank you very much, but I have to give you something.
Excellent. So I'm gonna, if I understand you, Robert, and I think it's a very good point that you're making, perhaps this is simply an opening gambit on Abraham's part, followed by an opening gambit on the part of the Hittites. You go into a car salesman, a place where they sell cars, and you go in and you say, I want to buy a car, and the person says, this is the one you want, not want to buy, just you want. So there's a kind of a beginning exchange here. So now let's go on. Let's see what happens next. Avraham rose and he bowed to the people of the land, to the Hittites. He spoke to them saying, if you are willing to bury my dead from before me, listen to me and beseech Ephron, the son of Tzochar, for me. So now he says, who do I talk to about acquiring this land? It's Ephron. And let him give me the cave of Machpelah that belongs to him, which is at the edge of his field. May he give it to me in your midst at its full price as a burial plot. So now I think it's pretty clear that give can very much equal sell it to me, because he says, Abraham says, I'm going to pay full price. And Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite replied to Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, all of whom come to by his city gate, saying, no, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field and the cave that is within it. To you I give it. In full sight of the people of my nation, I give it to you. Bury your dead. Rabbi Sachs?
It's not just a question of, is this a gambit or not, although I have read that it is, but it's also a question of ensuring that for all generations to come, there'll be no question. This was
okay. Excellent. Thank you. I would like to push back a little bit, if I can, and say that you are jumping ahead, which is an absolutely acceptable thing to do. It's my contention that you are not addressing exactly what you see here in the text, but you are projecting a part of your greater general knowledge about what Hebron is and about what Kiryat Arba is and all of these things. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. I'm trying to get you just to see the text as it is. And that is that the two of these people, Abraham and Ephron, are negotiating. And if, as you saw in this pasuk, this verse that I just read, that the words give, verse 11, I give you the field and the cave that is within it. To you I give it. In full sight of the people of my nation, I give it to you. The pshat, the plain meaning of the text. Is it possible that Abraham said, I want to pay for it? And because I want to pay for it, not I have, because I pay for things when I get them. And Ephron said, no, let me give it to you. Let me, this is on me. Is that possible? Let's leave it at that, because I want to go on. Abraham bowed before the people of the land. I think he bowed because he said, boy, you are really an amazing person that's offering this to you. 13, he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, if you would but listen to me, I will give the price of the field. Take it from me and let me bury my dead there. And Ephron replied to Abraham, saying to him, my lord, listen to me. Land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between me and you? So bury your dead. Okay, once again, I plead with you to see if you can't jettison your previous notion of Ephron and his personality, and see what you might think about his comment here that he says, land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between me and you? So bury your dead. What do you think he's saying? Rabbi Sachs?
I think it shows that this is a deal, because he's named a number here. Otherwise,
Okay.
why name a number? Why not just say, again, I'll give you the land? But here he's saying, no, what is 400 shekels between us, really?
My question is, why is he doing that? Is it because, A, he realizes that Abraham is going to insist on paying for it, so he's just giving him the price? Or B, he says, I've got him where I want him. I'm going to set a price that's exorbitant, and he's going to pay it because I've already felt him out and I realize that this is what he's going to do, or something else. What do you think? Why is he acceding and saying, I'm going to give you a price for this land? Cindy?
I think that he's saying like, why are we even talking about this amount of money? Like, between us, this money is meaningless. I want you to be able to bury your dead here. I don't know if 400 shekels of silver was exorbitant or not exorbitant, or maybe it was, but he's just saying, I don't need your money. You're a man of God. Bury your dead here. Stop talking to me about it.
Okay. And that, I think, is a perspective that is one of those perspectives that I am really encouraging us to say, I can see it that way. My lenses allow me to see it that way. Abraham listened, verse 16, to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver of which he spoke in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, acceptable to any merchant. It's like the US dollar, if you'll pardon the comparison there. And the field of Ephron, which was in the Machpelah before Mamre, the field, the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, and all around its borders were established for Abraham as a possession in the sight of the Hittites, all of whom come by the city gate. And afterwards, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, which is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and cave within it were established for Abraham as a burial plot from the Hittites. That's the end of the declaration, the text. So many of us have come to believe that what we're being told is that this was done, as Rabbi Sachs said, that this is done for the purposes of making sure everybody knows that the purchase was done, and it should be that way in perpetuity. How about if we see in the text that this is a cut and paste job of a legalized contract that was put together because that's what this particular moment called for? Abraham is distraught. He has just lost his beloved wife. He needs a burial place for her. The text, instead of going into the feelings of that, although we are told that he cries at the loss of his wife in the first couple of psukim, the first couple of verses, this is simply a report of the purchase of the burial place for his wife, and it is elongated. It's drawn out this way, and I use those words very specifically. It's drawn out just like we draw out a contract, and that's what this is all about. The question we're going to get to in a moment, after we learn a little bit of Rashi and Rashbam, is it what was mentioned before? Is this a defensive chapter, lest anybody say that Hebron doesn't belong to the Israelites and the Jews later on? Or is it simply a neutral telling of the story of Abraham in his desire to bury his beloved wife? So Rashbam, in his opening comments to chapter 23, we're told, Vayiyu Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah's lifetime were 120 years, 127 years. And Rashbam, the grandson of Rashi, says, Afal bishar nashim lo nitparshu yemei chayehen, b'sarah hutzrach lefaresh. Although the lifespans of other women of our Torah were never explicitly stated, Sarah's lifespan had to be written explicitly. Why? Since her death had to be mentioned in order to introduce the subject of the burial cave. The text had to elaborate when she died, considering that she gave birth only at the advanced age of 90. So Rashbam, who is, in my humble opinion, even a better pashtan, even a better bringing of the plain sense of the text than his grandfather Rashi, says, why do we have this information? The answer is that we need the report of Sarah's death as a foreshadowing of what comes immediately afterwards. Namely, Abraham needed to get a place to bury her, and that's what this chapter is all about. That it's the death of his wife and her burial, and the purchase of the plot in order to bury her, and nothing else. Please contrast that with Rashi, who is next, who says she was 127 years, literally 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. The reason the word year is written at every term is to tell you that each term must be explained by itself as a complete number. At the age of 100, she was as a woman of 20 as regards sin. For just as the age of 20, one may regard her as having never sinned, Since she had not then reached the age when she was subject to punishment, so too when she was 100 years old, she was sinless. And when she was 20, she was as beautiful as when she was 7. That's not Rashi, by the way. Rashi, many, many times, just plucks what he thinks is the best text for his comment for his readers. And here he gets this from a 5th, 6th, 7th century midrash called Genesis Rabbah, Bereshit Rabbah. So my contention is that they are not, they're like working in perpendicular positions here, trying very much to help us understand the beginning of this parasha. And then the Torah text goes on, Vayavo Avraham likvoret Sarah v'livkota. Avraham came, Vayavo. Afilu lo ba bimakom acher, af al pi ken ra'ui lomar kiva l'softa. That the words Vayavo Avraham, the main question would be, did he go from point A to point B? And the text says he came from X place to Y place. Rashbam says, no, don't get your nose bent out of shape. Even if he did not come from somewhere else, like another city, you don't have to worry about the literal meaning of those words. It's still appropriate to write that Abraham came. That is, he proceeded to mourn her. Ba leaf kota. It's regular usage of language, says Rashbam, trying to really make us feel comfortable with the pshat. And then contrast that, please, with Rashi, who says, Vayavo Avraham mi Be'er Sheva. Let's take it more literally and say that he came from another city in order to do that. The next section, which we're not going to learn because I'm looking and I'm seeing that we're running out of time, is Kiryat Arba. Is that Kiryat Arba as in 4? Or is it Kiryat Arba for because there was a guy by the name of Arba? It's a machloket, and I think it's a great machloket, and you can learn that on your own. Finally, the third one is when Avraham tries to buy this place, he says, Ger v'toshav anochi. I am a resident alien. I am just a foreigner here, and I'd like to buy it from you. And Rashbam says that when Ephron responds, he says, Nasi Elohim ata. You are a prince of God, not a resident alien. And so this one's on me, which is a part of the discussion that we were having is Ephron saying to Avraham, it's on me, you don't have to pay for it. Please contrast that with Rashi, who says, no, that Rashi doesn't comment on that one. I'm going to stop there. There are other Rashis and Rashbams that are also available here about Machpelah. Is Machpelah about twins from the word kefel, meaning 2? Or is Machpelah, just like Arba, just the name of the place called Machpelah? And don't worry about, you can go midrash on us and say it's because of the twins, the double burial plots that were there. But that's okay. In our last minute, I'd like to ask the question and maybe just leave it as a question. And that is, there are those who say, and we've heard it already in our chat, that the motivation behind the documented sale of land to Abraham, who was to turn a portion of it into a grave for him and his family, was in order to preempt any future attempt to deny the rights of the children of Israel to this burial site in Hebron. Did it work? Why or why not? There are those, on the one hand, who say very much so. We have this documentation that shows that Hebron belongs to the Israelites, namely the Jews, because it was purchased. Black on white, the text says it clearly. And we have others that say, well, thank you very much, but the text that you're trying to use here is a text that is called some people call it the Jewish Bible. It is a text that has a motivation to prove something that if I don't recognize the divine nature of the biblical text, which there are people in this world who do not, then they're saying you can't say that the bill of sale is legal simply because it's written in our Torah, because I don't recognize that particular text as one from the Torah. And we can go on, but I've been asked to stop now and give our hosts, Monica and Haley, a chance to close up. So thank you for learning with me, and I hope this has been enlightening for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Howard, for an absolutely enlightening shiur. This after, at least for me, it's afternoon. I want to let everyone know that this was originally supposed to be the last scheduled session of this series, but actually, due to the amazing attendance and demand, we will be continuing. So you can come right back here at the same time on Thursday, and we will have the honor of learning with Aviva Lauer, and her topic will be to mourn and to wail, what we can learn from Abraham at Sarah's death. So taking a closer look at the pieces that Howard alluded to this session, but going more into to Abraham and his feelings himself. Lastly, I'm going to drop a link in the chat, and every time if you've attended more than one of these, you've seen this before. This is our survey from Pardes to see how can we support you and help you as we all try to navigate now what we have unfortunately spent a month in the throes of. If you've already filled it out, there's no need to fill it out again, but we do want to hear from you. So thank you again to Howard for your time this afternoon, and to Haley for getting us all together. And I wish everyone a good start to your week, and hopefully we'll be together again on Thursday.
Stay healthy and stay safe, everyone. Bye.